What happened?
Mother, I'm fine. A reporter just told me that my daughter had collapsed. I hope you hit him. Morgan, did you call an ambulance?
What?
Oh, could you please put a plug in it? I'm faking it, stalling for a little time.
Oh, for heaven's
Did you see Ryan and Cass talking out
Your
there?
blood pressure's normal, Vicky.
Good. They were in the hallway talking to Grant.
What?
I take it back.
Would you please hurry up? I have to get out there.
What's going on?
I don't know. Nobody will tell me.
Listen, court's back in session in 2 minutes. Unless you want the judge to figure out what's going on.
What's she gonna do? Convict me?
It's over, Ryan. Victoria is guilty and she is on her way out.
Wrong, Grant. We know that Vicky didn't shoot you, and now we can prove it. Someone came forward, a witness.
There was no one there except Victoria and me.
Wrong again, Grant. Someone came back to the house unexpectedly. They saw the whole thing. You didn't think you were going to get away with this, did you?
If you had a witness, you would have produced him weeks ago.
They just came forward. I guess their conscience got to them or something.
The judge will never allow this. It's grandstanding. Besides, any witness would have to be examined by the prosecution before the trial began.
Dana can have all the time she wants.
Besides, once she finds out what this witness has to say, she's going to drop the case.
I doubt that. I'm an eyewitness.
But then again, you're lying. Aren't you, Grant?
We're about to be relieved. Oh, come on, Grant. They're just trying to shake you.
I'm sorry.
Miss Kramer, the state calls Dr. John Hudson. Now, Dr. Hudson, you were with the senator when he first regained consciousness, were you not?
Yes, I was.
And what was his state?
Similar to that of most coma patients, he was confused, full of questions, not fully aware of the extent of his injuries.
Now, does it make sense that it took time for the memory of the shooting to return?
Yes, it's very common in cases like this.
Thank you. Your witness, counsel.
Doctor, I'd like you to take a look at the medical report which describes Senator Harrison's injuries. In addition to the abdominal wound and a swollen lip, can you confirm that he also had burns to his hands, minor burns?
Yes, on both hands.
How did that happen?
I asked him. He couldn't recall.
The senator could not remember how he burned his hands. Doctor, you were present when he regained consciousness, or so you stated. Did he say anything?
Yes, he said, "I made it."
I made it. What did he mean by that?
Objection. Counsel is calling for us.
Rephrase. Did Senator Harrison explain what he meant when he said those words? When he said, "I made it"?
No.
The senator states that he was shot from the front, that the bullet must have come at him something like this. But when I read this report, it appeared to me that the bullet took off at an angle.
Is there a question here, Counselor?
Yes, Your Honor. When you examined the wound, Doctor, what did it tell you about how the senator was shot?
That's a very interesting question. After having examined the senator, I looked at the entrance and the exit wound and then read the narrative summary from the surgeon. I concluded that there were several scenarios. One being that the shooter might have been left-handed. Two, that the senator may have turned to his left as the gun was fired. Or three, that the shooter came up from behind, reaching around the senator and ramming the gun into his abdomen.
One, my client is not left-handed. Two, the senator has never mentioned anything about turning as he was being shot. But it is a distinct possibility that the shooter came up from behind him.
Oh, it's a very real possibility, yes.
And then when the senator regained consciousness, he gave you his version of events.
Objection.
Withdrawn. No more questions.
You may step down, Dr. Hudson.
Thank you.
Senator Harrison?
Thanks for fitting me in.
John, are you certain about the angle of the entry?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thanks again.
You're still under oath, Senator.
Senator, you testified that you were shot at point-blank range from the front. In light of Dr. Hudson's testimony that whoever shot you came up from behind you, would you care to change your statement?
seems to me I'm being accused of something. I don't know what it is, but it feels as if I'm being accused. Now, you think you look like Justine? I don't know. There may have been some vague resemblance, but I don't know, because I don't remember. But look at you this minute. Look at you, full of fears and doubts, and over what?
You locked me in a room for months years ago. Do you remember that? You tried to kill my husband. Do you remember that? You loved her, Carl. You were obsessed with her. That's what you told me. But you didn't tell me I looked just like her. Now, who did you fall in love with, me? Or am I just a way to love her?
Do you still expect us to believe that Victoria Hudson shot you from the front?
I am trying to remember the exact sequence of the events. We were arguing for quite some time. We were moving all around.
Let me remind you, Senator, there's a penalty for lying under oath.
Let me remind you, Counselor, that I had been struck in the face twice and that I had had quite a bit to drink.
Oh, then you don't remember who shot you.
Now, Victoria Hudson shot me. She waved that gun at me. She held it in front of me, in full view. I saw it. She aimed it at me. I was afraid. She was walking around that room, and she had that gun trained at me the whole time. Now, as for the exact moment that she shot me, yes. She came up behind me and she put her arm around me and she shot me.
I see. How did you get the burns on your hands?
Well, my house was on fire. I must have touched something.
You read the report given by Captain Lewis, didn't you? He was the fireman who was on the scene that night. According to him, you started the fire yourself when you knocked over a candelabra on your way out the door.
I don't know, Counselor. I had been shot.
Well, perhaps I can jog your memory. You were shot. And then you placed a phone call to your brother, you hung up the phone, you made your way to the door, knocking over the candelabra, and then you left the house. How did you get the burns on your hands?
I don't remember.
You didn't pick up something hot?
Well, I must have. Mustn't I?
Well, become the kind of man that my son would want to have as a father. I found all of this because of you. I found everything because of you. Now, if this shard from my past life has caused you pain, I humbly beg your pardon, but it's none of my doing. I love you, and only you.
And if you had to choose between us?
Rachel, you didn't listen to a word I just said.
They think she's alive, Carl. They think Justine is alive.
Drawing your attention to Exhibit 35, which was entered into evidence as an article of the clothing that you wore the night that you were shot.
A witness. Someone returned to the house unexpectedly and saw everything. Did you really think that you were going to get away with this?
Senator? Hello, Senator?
Yes.
This hand-woven handkerchief made of linen and made in Ireland. Is it yours?
Yes.
At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the forensics report on Grant Harrison's handkerchief. Senator, would you be so kind as to read the highlighted sentence in this report?
The handkerchief.
Yes.
Shows a residue of gunpowder.
Your handkerchief, the handkerchief that you had on your person the night that you were shot, has a residue of gunpowder on it? How do you explain that?
I can't explain that.
Was this handkerchief wrapped around your gun when you were shot?
Objection. Asked and answered, Your Honor.
I'll allow it. Answer the question, Senator.
I wish I could. I really can't explain it.
Once more, let me refresh your memory. By the way, you were right. Victoria brought a loaded gun that night, and she pointed it at you. But she lost her nerve. She couldn't pull the trigger. She dropped the gun and she ran from the house. Still furious, you stared at the gun lying there on the floor, the gun that was covered with her fingerprints. And you saw your opportunity. If you took a risk, a big risk, and it paid off, Victoria would lose custody of her son to you forever. The burns on your hands were powder burns, weren't they? The residue of gunpowder on your handkerchief. You took that handkerchief, you wrapped it around the gun because Victoria's fingerprints were all over it, and you knew that if you held the gun with that handkerchief, the prints would remain intact. Were you frightened when you pushed the muzzle of that gun into your side? Afraid that you might make a mistake, that you'd lose your life? You shot yourself, didn't you? And then you blamed it on your ex-wife, didn't you?
Order. Order.
Yourself and tried to pin it on me?
I will have order or I will clear the court! Counselors, approach the bench. Mr. Winthrop, you are so far over the line
I can
here.
prove each and every allegation, Your Honor.
I hope so, because if you're looking for a mistrial...
Your Honor, my only purpose here is to get at the truth. I think it would save the people time, money, and embarrassment if we could wrap this up today with a confession.
Miss Kramer?
I'll need a few minutes to confer with my client, Your Honor.
Step back. We will recess the court for 5 minutes.
All rise.
My God, he shot himself to hurt Vicky? That is so sick.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. You have to give him that.
I married that.
And you left him.
Could have married somebody like that? Gloating over there with her boyfriend. You know, she probably hopes that this is true.
It is true.
Oh, please, Morgan. I was there at the hospital every day with Grant. There's no way that somebody would do this to themselves voluntarily. He wouldn't put himself through that kind of agony.
The medical reports bear it out.
If you think you're gonna get away with this, you know, you're so incredibly twisted.
Vicky, would you just pipe down, okay?
He thinks he's gonna get away with it. I can see that smug look on his...
We have a witness.
Somebody saw him?
Yeah. Alistair. He came back to the Harrison house unexpectedly, and he saw Grant through the window. He shot himself.
Will he testify?
Well, he didn't want to, not at first, you know, loyalty to Spencer and everything. But then when I told him what was at stake, that you were being accused, that you could go to prison, well, and especially after I told him that I would pluck out his mustache
That's
one hair at a
incredible.
time.
I mean, they have to drop the charges.
Right.
There's absolutely no way to hold against them.
The next time you want to declare war on your ex-wife, find another venue. I do not appreciate being used.
Ask for a
Oh,
mistrial.
no. There's not a chance for that. See, Judge Stein wants answers, and so do I. So did you do it? Did you shoot yourself, Senator, and blame it on Victoria?
I'll plead the fifth.
And I will charge you with perjury, obstruction of justice. No, you know what? Better yet, I will give my story to the press. The inside story, a day in the life of the district attorney. Not only will you lose this case, you will lose your career and your son.
You're not leaving me a way out.
A way out! You know, I am ashamed to have to remind you, a United States Senator, that you swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but it. So do it! Or I swear, I will make you wish you killed yourself when you pulled that trigger. Old as friends.
Some friend. Well, let me tell you this. She's shattered. I've never seen her like this.
I am
She's
not going to
almost
apologize to you, Carl, for telling her the truth.
I don't ask you to apologize, but do you know for a fact that Justine is alive?
Yes. Hello, Carl. I'm Anna Marie. I'm Justine's sister.
Anna Marie. Yes, I remember Justine had a sister. We never met, did we?
No, we didn't. She knew I didn't approve of the affair. I do know that she loved you, though. You're probably the only one she ever did. Except herself, of course.
Do you know for a fact that Justine is alive?
Why is that important if you love Rachel?
Because now that you've dumped this in her lap, I have to resolve it for her one way or another, don't I? I mean, don't you agree I have to allay these doubts?
She wouldn't have any doubts if you didn't have any doubts, believe
Doubt?
me.
Felicia, up until an hour ago, and for the past 25 years, I have been firmly of the belief that Justine was dead. Now I'm supposed to accept that this has all been some kind of an elaborate charade?
You left her.
Strictly speaking, that's not true. But do you know where she is?
No. And to tell you the truth, I don't care. I hope she is dead.
Well, I tend to agree with you.
Carl, how can you say that? She's the mother of your child.
Yes, but what kind of mother abandons her children?
I don't know. But there has to be all sorts of reasons. I'm not asking you to want her back, but I want her dead.
She's evil. She is evil. And she blames you and Spencer for all of the trouble and ruin in her life.
You know, I never knew that she was pregnant. She never told me.
Would it have changed anything?
Yesterday? Once upon a time? Maybe. But if this is true, if that she's alive, that she turned her back on her children and never once thought to contact me. I mean, look what it's done to Ryan. Not to speak of Grant. Now, if ever I did love the woman, I could never love her again. Rachel is in no danger, old friend. I love her, and I want to share my life with her, whether Justine's alive or not.
Be careful.
I'll be more than careful. But if Justine is alive, I must find her.
I want to remind you, Senator, that you're still under oath. And I want to ask you again, did you shoot yourself? And then blame it on your ex-wife, Victoria Hudson? Grant.
I'd lost everything. My wife, my son, my career. And when you pointed that gun at me, I saw it. You hated me. You wanted me dead. You wanted to shoot me. And then you dropped that gun and you ran. You left me there, all alone. I was angry. I was upset. And I saw the gun on the floor where you had dropped it. And I had an idea. What if? What if you had shot me? And I survived? What would happen then, You'd lose custody. It was so simple. It was so elegant. Your fingerprints were already on the gun. It was all set. All I needed was a little courage. Just a little courage and a little conviction. You don't deserve him, Victoria. After what you did to me, you stole my child. You gave me another man's son. You don't deserve him. All I had to do was do it. I just had to do it. Please, God. Please, please. Let me live. Let that woman rot in a cell. Let that rest of rot in a cell for the rest of her life. Yes, I did it. I pulled the trigger, and I blame you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Take your places.
Stand up.
In the matter of the people versus Victoria Hudson, all charges are hereby dropped. Case dismissed.
It's over. It's all over. I'm heading over to family court.
Oh. Thank you. You are the best.
I'm so happy for you. Are you kidding me? This is the most fun I've ever had in court. Now listen, I want to catch up with you because I want to try and settle Kirkland's custody issue before the end of the day and get him back to you. Okay? All right.
Our hero! Oh, can you believe that self-serving apology he gave at the end? The only person he feels sorry for is himself.
Yes. I'll see you later.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh. I have to go tell Bridget right away. I promised her I would, and I have to check in with KBAY.
Go,
make
go,
sure
go,
that
go. I'll meet
everything
you at
is
home.
all right. Are you sure?
Yes, go.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud.
How'd you do it?
By thinking like you.
Like me? What do you mean?
You can't wait to hear the story. You are gonna love it. Come on.
Now, Rachel, I'm not coming back in there until you invite me. But no, we've got to talk. I've just been to see Apple Annie, or more properly, Anna Marie. Rachel, come on, enough of this.
What? That is incredible. Grant is just going to spit blood.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that I had to keep you in the dark about the whole thing,
no,
but
no,
if
no,
I had
no,
told
no,
you in the
no.
middle of the court...
It's okay. What goes around comes around. God knows I've done it to you enough. Besides, it worked out.
Sure did.
I'm going to get Kirkland back.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get married. And then you and me and Stephen and Kirkland. I love you.
Well, you better. I mean, because now, I've turned out to be a schemer just like you. So actually, I've got to go. I'm going to go talk to Billy down at the station. We're going to wrap everything up. See you at home?
At home.
take him to the witness room? Senator, you'll wait there while I confer with Judge Stein about the perjury charges.
Is that necessary?
I'll talk to you later.
Senator, I'll call the ambulance. I'll tell them we may be delayed.
Well, you must be very pleased. You've won this round.
I think I won it all, Grant. You are really a schmuck, you know that? And not just because you shot yourself, although that is right up there, but... You know what they would have put on your tombstone? Up until today, that is. Grant Harrison. He got away with it all. After all these years, and all the crap you have pulled on me, you fell for the oldest trick in the book.
What are you talking about?
Alistair. Remember him? Little man, big mustache. Used to bring you your slippers and your nightcap.
What about him?
Alistair didn't see a thing. Ryan scammed you into confessing, and you fell for it.